And we are live. Welcome to another Super Galactic Saturday. This is Jerry Sr., and I'm with Jerry Jr.
Good morning.
And we're having a great morning, actually. Beautiful weather, not too hot, not too cold. It's kind of just right. We're getting out of summer, going into fall. And yeah, and like they say, any day above ground is a good day. And today is definitely a good day. So I'm thankful. And we thank you guys for checking us out and giving us your time and listening. And we look forward to today's stream, and we got a few things to talk about and a few trailers to watch, so we'll get right to it. Um, I wanted to watch this one trailer. It's called Light of the World, and as the name sort of implies, it's about Christ. So, and I'm of the opinion you can't have too many movies about Jesus. So, I don't think there's enough right now, especially. So
I mean, as long as it's good. I'll be honest. I'm of the personal opinion where I'm a bit, I'm pretty critical about actual like physical the depictions of Christ and whatnot. Obviously, there's
yeah,
a lot of
that's
movies with
fair.
Christian
Yeah,
morals, but
of course. Yeah,
you know,
yeah, but
I,
yeah, you're right. You don't want any old kind of.
some people tend to insert their own interpretation or
This is
their
true.
idea
This
of
is true.
Christ as
This.
opposed to who he actually is. So,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But in this case, I think this might be a pretty decent interpretation, so to speak. So let's check it out.
all right.
Your taxes. Can you pay them or not?
Yes, of course.
Oh no!
My son John is right here with your money.
3 days, double what you owe. And if you can't pay, we take your father to prison.
I brought someone who can help. This is Jesus.
Never heard of him.
He's helping people. I want to be a part of that. This is my chance to show up.
No, we've talked about this. It's just a story.
Papa?
We're gonna need a bigger boat!
He turned water into wine! He's the king of all kings!
I knew a guy who ate those.
The baptizer?
With the honey and the wild hair.
Ooh, that gets me every time.
Tell me about this. Jesus.
Jesus is no Messiah. He's nothing.
Sometimes evil men silence those who speak the truth.
What is truth?
This is not the end. It's the beginning.
He is the light of the world.
Thoughts?
So normally, well, before I become a smartass, but
I know. I
I,
see.
I I do like the animation. I actually think it looks really good, and I like the way they drew uh, the environments in the world and the characters and stuff like that. Um, this is a pretty interesting. I mean, this is probably the most faithful depiction of John the Baptist that I've ever seen. So that's
You
pretty
think so?
cool. Well, he looks like an actual wild person.
John the Baptist. Yeah, I guess so. All right. I don't think
That
he's
I
been
was
depicted very often, though. That's
Well, there was an old cartoon. I mean, you guys had these got it on VHS a while back, and everybody kind of looked like uh, you know the type of depictions you see in like cathedrals and stuff like that, with
okay.
anime form. And of course, there's Veggie Tales, and that's
Well,
and
yeah,
that kind of speaks for itself.
yeah,
But yeah, but in the Bible, John the Baptist lives in the wild. He eats bugs and lives off the earth and stuff like that. So I thought
yeah,
that was pretty cool.
yeah.
I was going to complain that they kind of spoiled the entire movie in the trailer, but at the same time,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
kind of spoiled
it's just
just because of the nature of the subject matter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Kind of know what's
I
gonna happen.
can't. I'm not. Yeah, I can't be too upset.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's not a big deal. I just thought it was funny,
What I
but
find interesting is the depiction of John being that young. I don't know if that's. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's biblically accurate. Right.
I mean, he doesn't look particularly young.
Well, he looks like a kid. Isn't that the
That's
kid?
not John the Baptist.
No, I didn't say John the Baptist. Isn't it? Didn't he say through the eyes of one of the youngest apostles? Isn't that John or James or it was him?
Oh, oh.
Not John the Baptist.
I don't. I mean, they never said the kid's
Or maybe
name.
or was it or maybe it's Timothy. I'm not sure. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of interesting. So yeah,
John. Yeah, John was the youngest apostle.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, they never said his name was John, though. I never really heard the kid's name.
No, that's just me coming to that conclusion based on
Well, because he's called the youngest
what I already
apostle.
know about the biblical account. That's all I'm saying. But I don't think he was that young, was he?
Well, I don't
'Cause
think he's
wasn't it
supposed.
wasn't it two brothers? It was
Yeah,
James
it
and
was
John, and they were
James
the
and
sons of
John.
thunder, the sons of
Yeah,
Zebedee, sons of thunder.
I don't think he's
So
supposed to be the biblical John. I think they just said
so
that
yeah, so you think it's more like he was a follower of Christ, but he wasn't an
he wasn't one
actual
of the 12
apostle because he
disciples. Yeah,
does say apostle versus disciple.
yeah,
And so the only they weren't apostles until after the crucifixion.
yeah. I feel like
You have
if they would have
Paul,
if they
and
were
then you have
referring
Timothy.
to
So I think
yeah,
it might be Timothy. I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
don't think it's Timothy. I mean maybe. I
Well, he
feel
was
like
young. He was supposed to be very young. So,
I see.
so
Well, they never.
relative to Christ's ministry, and then crucifixion, and then afterwards the day
Well,
of
we never
Pentecost,
hear the
and
kid's
then
name, so
Paul's
we don't know.
ministry. Yeah, I'm just saying that could be the case. Maybe it is Timothy. I don't, so that
Maybe.
could be possible. I don't know, but it's an interesting concept, nonetheless. So
But yeah, it actually looks good. I like it.
yeah, I gotta admit it. It looks, at first initially I was kind of like, oh, okay, but it's like okay, it's not too bad actually. It looks fun, but they do get to the heavier stuff, which is the miracles and of course is crucifixion. So that'll be kind of the real test is once you watch it and you get to the weightier stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like how is that depicted? Is it a truthful depiction? Is it accurate? All that good stuff. So I
One thing I
imagine
do
this is
appreciate
probably
at the beginning.
after the resurrection.
Yeah.
So
One
so
thing I
yeah,
do appreciate is that at the beginning, when he first brings them, when he introduces them to his father, they kind of look at him and it's like who, like never
yeah,
like
yeah.
because he's just a guy.
It's like
He's,
the scene from Guardians of the Galaxy, right? I'm Star Lord. Who? Right?
oh well, I wasn't thinking about
Nobody,
that. It just
nobody
made
knows.
me think.
Yeah,
I mean that's true, yeah. But I was just thinking because Jesus was supposed to be like this average looking man, right? So when they bring
that's right.
him,
Yeah,
they're just like, why did you just bring this jobber? Like
just,
who?
just random.
Like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's a good point. Right.
So I like the fact they emphasize that. But no, I mean it looks cool. I like it. I actually like
Yeah,
it.
I admit the animation looks very nice. overall, it looks like it's well produced, and it's in theaters, obviously. So you know, if you're interested, check it out. Uh, you know, maybe I will. I'm not sure. It looks good, so I might. I don't go to the movies as often as I used to, so it's not a lot of good things. But this looks like it's pretty good. So I hope it does well, and so that it we get more. I mean, I think we're in the time where we need more movies that not necessarily as on the nose as this one, but definitely that promote what is good and what is righteous. Especially
Yeah,
considering what recent events. Um, we definitely need more light being sort of flashed into the darkness, right? And part of how that happens is through media and through movies and television. So it does matter, not just what you watch, but what's produced, right? Um, it really does. A lot of people try to diminish, oh, it's just a cartoon or it's just a TV show, and it's like, well, that may be true in certain contexts, but in the big picture, it does matter. What we consume matters. And
yeah,
what's produced to be consumed matters. It really does, right? Um, because you want to know not just who's producing it, but what's their intentions behind it. What is their goal, right? And what are they trying to communicate to us? Um, that's very, very more important than I think we realize. Um, it's funny, with all the critique and criticism and um, that's been going on in the sort of pop culture space over the last what maybe 2 decades, right?
yeah.
With Star Wars, and it started off as just criticism of just poor writing or poor production, right? Then it segued into or evolved into this um, critiquing actual, sort of the political dynamics that's being pushed, right? Um, and it's like it went from just this is just a bad movie to this is a bad movie because they're trying to force this message, and we don't like that, right? So even movies that may be objectively good, if it just has one hint and one whiff of what's been coined as woke, a lot of times it gets rejected, right? And that's unfortunate, but this looks pretty decent, so I'm hopeful. I hope to see more. I believe this was funded and produced through Angel Studios, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, Angel Studios, they're doing a lot of cool stuff. I'm a member. I've been checking out a lot of their trailers and proof of concepts. There's a lot of really cool stuff, and I hope that most of it gets produced because there's some good stuff, especially in the space of animation. And it's not all like straight up biblical stories. A lot of it is just really fun, family friendly stuff. Like the Tuttle Twins. That's a good example. It's not necessarily it is definitely more conservative and libertarian leaning, right? It teaches those principles, economic principles, but it is just a fun animated series too. And or the Wing Feather Saga. That's another one. That's really beautiful, well produced, and really, really enriching story that promotes, the family dynamic, family values, traditional values, but it's done in a very fantastical fantasy world, right? And I say we need more. I want to see more of that. So yeah, this is nice, and I hope to see more of this in theaters, especially. That'd be great. So good stuff. Another trailer, which I kind of forgot about this, and this was sort of a surprise, hit, I guess. Excuse me, not just in the sense of its success, but also for me, I didn't expect to actually like this, but I did, and that's the Bad Guys, um, and I believe it's DreamWorks. And I watched the first one, not really expecting it to be good, and I was surprisingly it was actually good. I enjoyed it, and
Yeah.
so this is a sequel to that. I haven't watched it, but it is in theaters now, so hopefully it's good. I wouldn't mind checking it out, but let's go and watch the trailer and see what it's about.
When it came to being bad, we were pretty good. Who am I kidding? We were the best.
Showtime.
Oh, baby!
It's the bad guys!
Watch this.
I am never driving another car ever again!
Things sure have changed. Not everyone believes it, but the bad guys went good.
I'm keeping my eye on you guys.
What was that? I panicked, okay? I'm a panicker.
It hasn't been easy with a reputation like ours.
Now you want to work at a bank.
Why not? Some of my best memories are at banks.
You robbed us 3 times.
That was this bank?
The name's Katie. We're students of your work, big crime nerds.
So you're like the bad girls.
And you're like a mango with teeth.
What? Is that what I look like? Oh, she is spicy. I like it. Insult me next.
You need a job, and I need some extra hands. Professionals.
Maybe you don't keep up with the news, but we're good now.
I'm not exactly asking.
So, are we bad again?
We just got to do this one last job. All right, Mr. Master of Disguise, do your thing.
I promise to play you respectfully.
Where's my flowers? Prego, cappuccino.
You're a grumpy little snaky wakey.
Is she your hostage? No, she's my girlfriend. Why is she in his mouth?
Oh, that caught me off guard.
Yeah, that last part was kind of weird, but
For what I've heard from people is that the movie is actually really good, but it didn't do very well at the box office.
the second one,
The second one, yeah,
yeah,
which is
okay.
too bad. 'Cause,
That doesn't.
I
that
did
doesn't
I
surprise
did watch some of the first one with my sister, and it was pretty cool. It's very obviously taking a lot of inspiration from stuff like the first thing that comes to mind is Lupin the Third.
Yeah,
Basically,
definitely.
just a
Definitely has that.
family friendly version of that, which is fine. But I
Yeah,
mean, just from the mannerisms of the big bad wolf and the
yeah,
cars,
yeah.
whatnot.
There's even a bit of a Tex Avery reference in there with the fact that he's a wolf, and
Of course, yeah.
he's characterized. It's actually pretty nice. And I just say I found it was kind of a charming movie, right? It was fun. It was good hearted. Um, there was nothing in it that was like questionable in the sense of are they trying to signal some nonsense, some woke whatever. Like it was nothing like that. It was just a great, well produced movie. It's definitely not a blockbuster, so I was kind of surprised to see that there was a sequel. So, but I think it may have had because I saw it on streaming. I didn't see it in theaters, so I'm guessing that it did very well on streaming, and that's why they're doing a sequel and releasing in theaters because I saw it on streaming and it was fun. It was a great movie, but to be honest, yeah, I wouldn't have gone to the movies to watch even the first one. Right, I wouldn't even thought to. I didn't. Right, so I kind of suspect that maybe part of its success is that while box office wise, it probably isn't going to do very well. Um, it's going to have a second life in streaming, right? And that could be part of the strategy. Who knows? Meaning, because I don't know what the budget is, so I'm hoping that it's not more than the first one, right? So, but that could be a new, no, not really that new, but a strategy going forward from some of these studios is you produce something at a modest budget and produce it well, of course, but then you don't really bank on the box office. you bank on the secondary markets, which is streaming and syndication, things like that, right? So, and of course, merchandise. And that's the thing. Like even with this, I don't see this being a big merch um, type of franchise.
Why is that?
I don't know. I know it's anthropomorphic animals. You think that'd be a no brainer, but there's something about the characters and the characterizations. Like I don't see kids clamoring for, maybe the wolf and maybe the shark. That's kind of all, and only and with the shark because the shark is this master of disguise, and it's kind of this absurd.
Well, he's
I was
funny. Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it's a funny gag, right? And actually, that's the only time I laughed is that part where he's like, I promise to
Play
portray,
respectfully. Yeah.
yeah, and he starts doing the typical, stereotypical Italian
Italian.
accent.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, that's funny. That's objectively funny. So, but that's kind of it, right? Like the rest of it's kind of okay. It's fine. So I can see the shark and the wolf, just because he's obviously the lead character. But beyond that, I'm not sure about the marketability, and I mean in reference to merch. Now it'll be interesting to see the numbers. Maybe the merch is like maybe that did pretty good, right, to justify the sequel as well. But I'm not. I don't know. I'm not sure. So because you look around, like you go out into the world and you expect to see signs of success, right? Like people wearing T-shirts and kids carrying around a toy, and you know, like I still see to this day small kids carrying around a Woody or a Buzz, right? Like you,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
so often I still see that. You go to the mall, you see kids with Spider-Man, whatever, a tire, bike helmets with Spider-Man, like you just see it. It's just it's out there, and so that signals that, oh yes, Spider-Man is still a big item. Like when it comes to merch, you see
Yeah.
what I mean. So, and that's what I'm saying with the bad guys. I don't see that. You know, I haven't. Now that doesn't mean it's not selling well. I'm just saying I haven't seen it, and usually I see a lot of that. Like I say with the Marvels, I still see Hulk, I still see Iron Man, I still see,
Right.
you understand, like because in Disney stuff, same thing. I do see like a Moana something every once in a while. Right? I see a little girl with a T-shirt or something. Lilo and Stitch. I see little toy. You understand what I'm saying? Like you go to the mall, you go to the beach, you're gonna see things like that, right? Merch, and I haven't seen that with, So
Only time will tell.
yeah, yeah, take that as you will. But so it's kind of interesting. It surprised me that there was a sequel. But yeah, hope it does well. I mean, like I said, it's fun, and I like DreamWorks. It's funny. I was just talking to your brother about DreamWorks and how they had a huge, successful stretch for like a good decade of
Oh yeah.
just, hit movies, right? Like Shrek and all that, and, How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
Like they were really kind of knocking it out of the park. Now they didn't have it wasn't continuously successful. They had some misses too, but overall there was more hits than misses, right? And
Yeah.
yet it still feels like they kind of fly under the radar, right? Like when you think big IP or big production company or brand, you don't necessarily think DreamWorks. Especially when it comes to like family entertainment. Like I don't. It's still Disney, you know. And it's that kind of fascinates me. Like Disney has this stranglehold, despite its very many faux pas, right? Very many bad steps.
Well, sure, but I mean, DreamWorks sort of marketed itself, or especially early on, as sort of like an anti-Disney. Like, I mean, Shrek is pretty much the anti-Disney movie. Um, I mean, you had stuff like a lot of their stuff tends to be on the edgier side of things, or even something as like How to Train Your Dragon. Like, even though it's not like edgy in the sense that it's like humor wise or it's got anything provocative, but it's extremely violent. By the end of the movie, Hiccup loses his leg. People die in the series.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're right. It's not
even
a
in Kung Fu Panda, you know, Kung Po kills Tai Lung. He kills him.
yeah, it's not a typical.
Right.
And, and,
So I
and that's
mean,
funny you said because they confirmed that in the
in the,
fourth movie.
yeah, he's dead.
Ironically, it was like, oh, even though it's not the best one, but it's like, oh yeah, he really is dead.
Yeah, it's not like you knocked him out. It's like, no, you killed him.
So yeah, that's a very good point. Like DreamWorks definitely has a different approach. I think it's kind of like like Don Bluth, right? The same thing, with a lot of his productions, were anti Disney, right? Like he did his best not to make a Disney esque type of movies and animation, and he succeeded for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Secret of Nim being his, sort of the pinnacle of that, and I think, and it's funny.
What made Don Bluth stand out was that, well, I mean, I think at the time, Don Bluth animation was on par, if not better than Disney animation at that time period. But also, B, I think Don Bluth stories, same thing. They weren't afraid to get
To go
uh,
dark, to
you
get
get
gritty,
dark,
and
but
that's
it
what I'm
was
saying.
a
Like
little
there's,
different where you had
uh,
to you had to earn your happy
but
ending.
but this is the
Essentially.
thing, though. This is the thing I find, I have a contention with, is that's always how Disney is portrayed and described, and I think more or less that's based on maybe more recent movies, but
What do you mean? I don't understand.
I mean that they're very saccharine, and and it's like, well, I don't know if anyone's. I always say, when people say that, I go, well, you haven't watched The Fox and the Hound, right? Because
Yeah,
that movie it gets dark. You haven't watched Bambi, right? Bambi's mom died, like, so Disney wasn't afraid to broach those things and get a little dark and get a little
I mean, The
serious.
Lion King,
Yeah, even The Lion King, that's way more recent, right? So
Mulan.
it's like
I mean, there was
yeah,
I
Mulan,
mean,
yeah,
there was the whole war scene,
that's
right?
true. That's a very good point. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot about that. Yeah.
scene in the
So that's what I
mountains.
mean. Like, you keep saying Disney, and I'm like, well, I guess, but I think that's more or less with the marketing, but with the actual Disney productions, yeah, they kind of went there a few times, right? Like they didn't shy away from uh, getting kind of dark, right? And um, they did it in a tasteful way. Like I said, Fox and the Hound is a great example to me because it's a hunter and a fox, and all this kind of stuff, and it gets pretty touch and go in the third act. Right? I remember as a kid watching that. That was one of my first movies I saw in theaters. Was Fox and the Hound, and as a kid, I'm just like, whoa, you know.
Yeah,
Like, I thought the fox, was killed. So but it ended with a happy ending, which is, and that's their moniker, their signature is that, generally speaking, there's a happy ending, right? So, but yeah, I mean, but there's other reasons why Don Bluth and others left Disney, besides the way they approached. It was more or less just the way Disney did things, right, internally. You
yeah,
know, but yeah, it's kind of fascinating. But yeah, DreamWorks, they have a great resume, a great history of great movies, right? So, but yeah, but for some reason, it's like,
characters are kind of ugly.
what's that?
Oh, Mecha Missionary said Don Bluth characters are also kind of ugly.
That's funny. Well, I don't know. Five-O is pretty cute, right?
I mean, it depends on the character. I
Yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
can kind
But
of tell
that's
who's the
pretty.
bad guy by how
Yeah, it's pretty
bad
obvious,
ugly they are.
right? Yeah.
Unless you're the troll in Central Park, I hate that.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. But but I don't know. I hope one day they do kind of get the kudos they deserve for you know for making great stuff. Because they really have. DreamWorks has a great history of great movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people know that, especially when you look online. I mean, people love spamming memes about Megamind and
Yeah, that's what I
Octopus
mean. Right,
and the B
Shrek, of course.
movies and
Yeah,
Shrek.
but it's what I'm
Uh,
saying is, though, like, we don't correlate those necessarily with DreamWorks as a brand. That's what I'm saying. Like, the
what do
Shrek
you don't?
brand is not synonymous with DreamWorks, but it should be. That's all I mean. When I
Yeah,
think
it
Shrek,
is.
I don't think DreamWorks. I just think, oh, Shrek. But when you say Aladdin, you think Disney. That's what you follow with every Disney production.
I
Just
mean,
like
I
Pixar, with
kind of
every Pixar.
disagree.
No,
I mean,
I'm serious. Nobody's like automatically going DreamWorks when you say Puss in Boots. They'll go, who did that? Oh yeah, DreamWorks. That's right. It's kind of like that. It's not an automatic correlation versus with Aladdin or The Lion King, or you're already thinking Disney just by saying those titles. That's what I'm talking about. Like there's a direct
yeah, I
correlation,
get what
and
you're
that's
saying.
marketing. That's because Disney markets itself. Just like with Pixar, right? That's probably the genius thing that Pixar did when they made a deal with Disney for distribution is it was Disney Pixar. It wasn't just Disney. You understand? It was Disney Pixar. And so
Yeah,
every Pixar movie is a Pixar movie. We don't go Disney Pixar, we go Pixar. Why? Because they branded their movies that way. They have a distinct style and a distinct way of telling stories. And we automatically associate that with the Pixar brand, right? So it's Pixar. And so that's why we even know who they are. Like why would we know who Pixar? All they did was produce the movies, right? Disney's the one that distributed and put the money into it and
right.
marketed it and did the merchandise and right. But it's
I
we
get what
don't
you're
go
saying.
Disney's Toy Story. We go Disney Pixar Toy Story, and really, we kind of just say Pixar Toy Story. Like we don't even add the Disney anymore. That's kind of the point I'm making. It's like
Yeah.
the zeitgeist, so to speak, right? It's like part of that is smart marketing, right? And maybe there's something else with that as well. Maybe there's a social or cultural dynamic, but I'm
Well, it's
just
kind
saying,
of like how even though Sega hasn't really produced, they haven't made a console in a few decades. We still associate Sonic with Sega,
that's right. Yeah,
even though
yeah.
he's pretty much a Nintendo character
Because
at this point.
Sonic is what put Sega on the map.
Yeah,
Like, period. You know what I mean? Like, that was their, just like for the longest time, Nintendo. Well, honestly, even now is Nintendo is Mario. Mario is Nintendo, right? And now it's expanded, obviously, to this whole cavalcade of characters, right? But Nintendo, Mario, Super Mario Brothers, right? Like and that's what I mean. That's the branding aspect. It's like there's this direct correlation, so you can't say one without thinking of the other.
right.
But with DreamWorks, if you go on the street and you just go DreamWorks, who's going to come out and say Shrek? Nobody. Nobody's going to do that. But if you say Shrek, they're going to go, oh yeah, Shrek. They're not going to go DreamWorks. You understand? They're not. Most people aren't going to do that. They're just
Well,
going to
yeah,
go, yeah, Shrek. Yeah, Puss in Boots. Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, Kung Fu Panda. And you'll find 1,000,001 fans of all those franchises, and most of those people will care, you know, could care less about DreamWorks. Like it's not, what I'm saying. There's no direct correlation, and I don't know if maybe that's a good thing or not. I don't think it's a good thing for the company as a, I would be like trying to figure out how to make that happen so that DreamWorks becomes synonymous with great movies, great storytelling, great IPs, right?
I mean, they're obviously still in business, so people.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, because they produce successful work. That's all I'm saying. They're successful. I'm not knocking their success. I'm just talking about branding wise. You
Yeah,
don't automatically think DreamWorks just because someone says Shrek. You know what I mean? Or any of the other IPs, right?
I mean, I make an argument for Shrek, but maybe something like Kung Fu Panda or something, or How to Train Your Dragon.
Even Kung
I
Fu.
mean, I
That's
don't
what
know.
I'm saying. Even Kung Fu. I don't know. That's just my perception. I could
I
be
mean,
wrong.
I've never met anybody
If
who
you think
didn't
I'm wrong, let me
know
know.
that. Like, it's not like people mistake Shrek for a Disney movie or anything.
Right, they don't, but they don't automatically say DreamWorks. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they confuse it with another company. I'm just saying that they just stand alone. They just stand on their own. Like Shrek is popular because Shrek, right?
Right, it's not popular because of
Yeah.
DreamWorks.
Versus you can look at a Disney production, and you can say, yeah, it's popular because it's part of Disney. It's the Disney, a way of doing things, the Disney, magic, how they like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, and to be
Yeah,
fair, Disney's an older company, been way longer than DreamWorks. So I think that's a big part of it too. So they're just the staple of entertainment, right?
yeah.
Um, so that could be a big part of it as well. It's just the Disney name, excuse me, is a household name. DreamWorks, not necessarily, right? But then you think like Minions. I think Illumination. You understand? Like when you say Minions, I think, oh yeah, Illumination. Yeah, right. So
I guess. I mean,
I mean, I'm just saying, like, even though they're a newer company, there- there's a correlation that's happening, and part of that is maybe they're marketing themselves better in that area, in that space, right? So,
yeah.
oh, it's something to think about. It's something I know. It's like I said, I could be wrong, but that's just how I see it. But I'm just some old dude. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, no, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think, like I said, I think I make an argument for stuff like Shrek or like Megamind or something. Like most people who are fans of those movies know that they're DreamWorks movies, but obviously, like DreamWorks doesn't
Well,
have
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't have a universal brand like Disney does,
yeah. That's
obviously.
kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, there's no like, no one
Because to
goes
be
like
fair,
DreamWorks.
I didn't realize that movies like Sinbad or Prince of Egypt were DreamWorks movies. You know?
Yeah, right. That's exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like they stand on their own as like, wow, these were great stories or great movies.
Yeah,
But you don't automatically go, oh, they're DreamWorks movies, right?
yeah.
And I think that's just a matter of branding. It's just they just don't brand themselves, I think, effectively, right? For
Well,
whatever reason.
maybe they don't need to though.
Maybe not. I mean, like I said,
But like I said,
they
they
have a
don't.
great track record. So
But that's what I mean though. It's like they rely on just telling stories that people want to see, as opposed
yeah,
to sort of to try to use
yeah,
this sort of
cash
mass.
grabs and yeah, yeah.
Well, not necessarily.
No, they don't. They
Uh,
don't seem to do cash grabs.
and,
Now we can make an exception
well,
with
I don't know. They have a lot of
Shrek.
animated.
I was going to say Shrek for sure. There's like five now, right? So
Well, not only the five, but there's video games. There was a catch up for Shrek. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So they're not above catch grab. Don't even get me started on Madagascar and the different
now
spin-offs of
I
that.
wonder too if it has to do with the audience as well. Like, does DreamWorks audience trend more older? I think that's part of it too.
I think so too,
You know?
especially when you consider the humor of most DreamWorks movies.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the DreamWorks is for people who grew up with Disney but became, but
But they
grew
grew
out
up.
of it.
They
They
grew up.
grew
Yeah,
out of it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, yeah. That's a good way to put it. So
Because Disney appeals to people who grew up with Disney and are still and haven't grown up.
yeah. Well, they're still nostalgic for Disney
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I agree. And but DreamWorks, I don't know, like because it's definitely still family friendly. Like they, they're Kung Fu Panda, but it probably trends more like what 10, 11, 12 and up, right?
Yeah. It's also an
Versus,
action series. And Disney
versus
doesn't really
Disney.
have an action series.
Yeah, yeah, Lion King and Aladdin. It's that's going to be trend way younger and up, right? You're talking like 7, 8, and up.
Oh yeah, there's
Even
that too.
five, right? So that's very different from Dream to DreamWorks. Yeah, like you look at something like Anastasia. That was who was that? That was I think that was Fox.
That was Fox, yeah.
And like that's not for kids at all. You're like, although it is a family friendly film, like
I
it's
mean,
good
yeah, I
for general
watched it.
audiences. I think it
Yeah.
was probably PG or PG-13. Um, and even that rating I think might be too high, but so yeah, it's I don't know, it's like, yeah, it's a fascinating kind of dynamic here. you know it makes you wonder, that's all. But I got another trailer I wanted to watch. This is another movie that came out that surprisingly I liked it, and I didn't expect to like it, but I did. And that was Nobody. and now we have Nobody Two.
Oh yeah,
And
I saw some of the fight scenes from the first movie. They were pretty cool. Like the one on the bus.
yeah, that's
That one
probably
was pretty
the
awesome.
best one. Is the
Nice.
fight scene? It's like it's funny that movie is defined by that scene, right? Because it's so gritty, it goes hard,
Yeah,
and the rest of the movie is great. It's a fun ride. It's but like so far as fight scenes, it's that's pretty much the peak. Like in the first movie, like the rest of the movie
pretty
is
nuts.
it's more like shoot 'em up, gunplay. There's a couple of fights here and there. Like it's good. It's fast paced, but it's like that scene on the bus is kind of like like once you see that, you want to see the rest of the movie, right? But yeah, so that did pretty well. And like I said, I liked it. I thought it was great. So I was pleasantly surprised to find out there was a Nobody Two. So another kind of surprise hit, I guess. And of course, this is the aftermath of John Wick, right? So definitely in that vein, the unsuspecting former, something, right? Military guy, black ops, Marine, something, right? So, or
Oh, is that what this is?
yeah, in this case, I think he was like an agent, like a secret agent or spy or something. I don't know, but
Gotcha.
and in the first movie, and he was living this quiet life, away from it, like he's supposed to be kind of retired, but things happen, and what's hilarious is it was all kind of based off of a misunderstanding, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it was so random. It wasn't even like the thing that he went out to set out to do when he was on that bus have nothing to do with with what happened on the bus.
Oh, okay.
He was literally just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it's funny. It's hilarious. So here we are with another one, and this one is his family goes on vacation. So and you know things happen.
I've come to terms with the fact that you don't have an average job.
You guys having fun at the convention?
But we haven't seen you in months.
What happened to your eye?
Somebody found me at the game.
What game?
The one you missed.
And summer break's just a few days away.
We should do something. Strictly family time.
Come on, kids. It can be an adventure.
Let's do this.
I am just so happy that we're all together.
Hey, city boy.
Hey,
Get out of here. Let's go right now.
I understand protecting your sister, but there are other ways to handle things. I left my phone.
Hutch, no!
Why did she know?
What the hell, Hutch? On our first date?
I think I stumbled into something.
You're vacationing in an old bootlegging route, full of drugs, crooked cops, and one woman who controls it all. You didn't take your family there, did you?
Yeah,
You'll want to de-escalate the situation.
de-escalate. No escalating. Guys, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm here on vacation.
Find this nobody.
Scorched earth.
I just want a break.
There's no way you were just some family man.
We all have different sides. But most of all, you're a dad. Go fix this shit.
I told you.
I'm on fucking vacation!
Where's the Tylenol?
Yeah, I mean, they showed a lot. I hope that's not like the whole movie, right? Because they showed a lot of fight scenes.
I mean, it still looks cool. I mean, I'd still watch it.
Yeah, I would too. It looks good. I actually forgot it came out. That's what's kind of sad about it. Like it doesn't seem to be getting a
Well,
lot
now
of.
I need to watch the first
lot
one.
of yeah, definitely watch the first one. If you haven't watched the first one, I mean, it looks like you can probably just watch this and not necessarily know about the first one. You
That's
know what I
cool.
mean? But it does help to kind of understand the dynamic that he's this guy who was an agent and he got out and he was living this regular life. I think even his wife was probably part of it somehow, but
Well,
she.
I love the fact that when he said, "Oh, I forgot my phone," she just automatically knew he was lying.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's going back to take care of business. Yeah, so
It's like,
it's
I'm going
it's
for
a
a
fun
walk. No,
dynamic.
you're
Yeah,
not.
yeah. It's a so like I said, the first one was pretty fun. This one looks like it's gonna be the same, right? Just kind of beat them up, beat up the bad guys, right? So yeah, I'm here for it. I like it. I mean, it's I like the first one, so I hope this is as good as the first one. But a lot of times when you get to these sequels, they don't always do as well. Right?
Well, it looks like it's gonna be Lampoon's Family Vacation, but with
Yeah,
violence.
yeah. National Lampoon meets
I mean, they used the
John
song.
Wick. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Exactly. I was going to say that it's definitely National Lampoon meets John Wick. That's kind of how you want to see this sequel.
yeah, which is
It's
hilarious.
yeah, it's pretty good. So Nobody Two, check it out. It's in theaters. I definitely plan to check it out myself. So, but yeah, it's like I hope it does well. I really do. I would love to see. Excuse me. I would love to see a third one. So yeah, we need more good movies, and this is definitely one. And it's an original movie. It's original IP. Um, you know, I'm here for it. So, but yeah, those are trailers we got, and the star is Bob Odenkirk. I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
He's
he
really
looks
good.
familiar.
He looks kind of like this everyman. He's the guy from uh, Better Call Saul. I don't know if
Oh,
you ever
really?
seen that show. Yeah, and Breaking Bad. He was the sort of the sleazy attorney, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's him. So,
it's
so I like him.
hilarious.
He's a great actor. He's very
Now
good.
I don't want to call Saul.
So, yeah, don't call. Well, call Saul if you need somebody to get the butt kicked. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and I saw both those series, and they're very good, excellent, excellent television. So,
Yeah,
Breaking
I
Bad.
saw some of Breaking Bad. I never
Listen,
saw the whole thing.
you need to watch all of Breaking Bad. It's it's epic. It's really good. And then there's Breaking Bad. Then there's like this movie. What was it called? Uh, the name escapes me, but they did a movie that kind of closed it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then they did the spinoff Better Call Saul,
No, interesting.
and because he was um, the main character's attorney in the original series,
All right.
and so they decided to sort of give you his backstory, and his story is really good. It's really good,
Okay.
especially the dynamic between him and his brother and everything. It's very word. I mean, excellent storytelling. So um, I highly recommend uh, all those shows. So, but yeah, check out Nobody Too. Looks good. Let's support stuff that's like actually original, and they're trying to give us something new. Let's support that. So, but yeah, that's all I have for trailers. I know you wanted to talk about Nintendo Direct. You want to talk about that first before we get to MCU, the MCU, because our
Yeah.
title says the MCU should end. And,
Yeah. But well, I only wanted to mention it because you know for those of you who aren't aware, this month marks the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers, the original video game, which came out in September 12th of 1983. No, 1988. I'm stupid. 1980. Was it 1985?
What, Super Mario Brothers?
Yes, Super Mario Brothers.
Probably 84, 85.
Yeah, 1985. I'm stupid. Yeah, 1985. It's 40th anniversary. It's crazy how it's that old. I first played Super Mario Brothers, the first Super Mario Brothers on the Game Boy. There's a Game Boy version called Super Mario Brothers Deluxe, and it was pretty cool. It came with the original Mario Brothers 1, then it came with Super Mario Brothers 2, or as we know it as the Lost Levels, and a bunch of extra stuff. But yeah, so Nintendo had their regular direct announcing some stuff they were doing for the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers, and I don't know how everybody else feels, but most people who were already tired of Nintendo's current shenanigans were pretty underwhelmed because they didn't really do anything for Super Mario Brothers anniversary. They showed off a bunch of concept art like they always do, and they announced some re-releases of 20-year-old games that they're going to resell for $80, and yeah, that's really about it. Really about it. That's all they really did. So if you want to buy, if you want to spend $80 on 2 Wii games that came out for the Wii, then be my guest. But yeah, it was pretty underwhelming. Do you remember Super Mario Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that came out. That came out 2007. I was in high school. No, I was in middle school. Yeah, and they're re-releasing it with Galaxy 2 for the Nintendo Switch, and it's probably going to be about $80. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend $80 on two 15-year-old games. And it's not like they're remastered or anything. It's literally just they stuck a ROM on a disc or two ROMs.
Really?
Yeah. There's nothing special about it. It's the same game. And sometimes when they re-release a game, they'll like remake it from the ground up. They didn't do that, so it was pretty lazy, all things considered.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, but who wasn't lazy for Super Mario Brothers anniversary? Joe Mama. I'm not kidding. The YouTuber named Joe Mama, and he came out. Well, he released a game. Boy, he released a proper remaster for the original Super Mario Brothers, and this is what that looks like.
Interesting. I love the music. Wow. Are you there? We
Yeah.
can't hear you if you're talking. Okay.
Yeah, so this is one guy in Godot. Are you familiar with Godot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he remade. So not only did he remaster the original Super Mario Brothers from the ground up, obviously the graphics have been updated while still retaining the 8-bit style.
Yeah.
But also, as you saw, you could play as different characters. I actually downloaded this uh, last week. It's awesome. This is the best way to
Yeah.
experience the
You go.
original Super Mario Brothers. You get to play as extra characters, obviously Mario and Luigi and the two Toads. Um, they updated the graphics for each world, so it's not just the same overworld and underground every single level. But not only that, the best part about this remaster is that you're basically getting four games in one because it's not just Super Mario Brothers. It's Super Mario Brothers. It's Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels, which is the original Japanese sequel.
Yeah.
It's Super Mario Brothers Special, which was a port slash I guess we're gonna call it remake for of Super Mario Brothers for the Commodore 64, if I remember correctly. Basically, it was like the only Mario Brothers game at that point uh, not released on a Nintendo console.
Hmm. Interesting.
And you get a special Japanese exclusive version of Super Mario Brothers called All Night Nippon Super Mario Brothers. Yeah, it was a game. Yeah, Super Mario Brothers Special was a game that was made by Hudson, which is the people behind Bomberman and Mario Party. They made their own version of Super Mario Brothers for the Sharp X1 computer and the NEC PC. Um, but yeah, it basically it's Hudson's own sequel to Mario Brothers. So you get that, and then you get a game called All Night Nippon. Now, All Night Nippon was a radio program in Japan, and the game was pretty much it was Nintendo made a special version of Mario Brothers to promote the radio show in Japan, and it was called All Night Nippon Super Mario Brothers. So what they basically did was they replaced all the enemies and the other characters with different people from the radio show.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah, and so you get that, and you're basically getting four. You're getting four games made in the original Mario Brothers engine in one game, and there's a level editor, so you can make your own levels. You know, yeah.
Yeah, it's as we've come to realize, fans are best at
Fans do what
treating
Nintendo don't.
fans.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't seem to care enough about their audience.
Well, it's not. Well, yeah, about their audience. But that's the thing, though, is that Nintendo has become a lot like Disney, where they think they could just coast off of nostalgia, and
Yeah, but I
they
think it's
have to try.
also I think it's also their intent is to control their brand as much as possible, and so they don't want to do things like this because they probably see it as off brand, right? You know what I mean? Like it's It's probably just their mindset of
Right, but here's the
this
thing,
is what
Dad.
works, so we're not going to deviate, even though it makes sense, even though the fans want it.
Right, but Dad, here's the thing. They keep doing stuff that people actively do not care about. Like, you remember? No, listen. Do you remember the Virtual Boy? Have you
Yeah,
ever heard of the Virtual Boy? Okay, yeah. So they re-released the Virtual Boy. That was part of the direct.
even though no one asked for it, nobody cares
Nobody,
about it.
even though nobody asked for it. I'm not even kidding you. Hold on a second. This is what they. So instead of giving us a proper remaster of Super Mario Brothers, it's hey guys, hey kids, remember the Virtual Boy? Look at this.
Yeah, but nobody cared about that.
Nobody cared about it.
You know what it is? It's we got a warehouse full of these things, and we couldn't get rid of them the first time. Let's try it again.
Well, that's not
Maybe
so.
this time. That's what it looks
I mean, that would be funny, but
like.
no.
I
So
think
what they
that's
did
it.
was, this is essentially a Virtual Boy peripheral that basically you put your Switch inside of it, and you could play it like a Virtual Boy. So it's like a novelty peripheral for your Switch.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants. You're right. Nobody wants that. Nobody care. Only me and like two other weirdos on the internet care about the Virtual Boy. And I only care about the Virtual Boy because it has one of the best Wario Land games
I mean,
on it.
VR
That's a whole other story.
goggles in and of itself aren't exactly in demand, so
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
very tone deaf. So,
Well, that's
like I said,
Nintendo. They're tone deaf.
they got a warehouse full of this stuff, so they're like, we got to figure out how to move it.
Well, Dad, you don't understand. This isn't like they brought out old Virtual Boys to sell. They made brand new Virtual
Oh,
Boy things.
I don't believe they did.
They did,
I think they
Dad.
just had a warehouse full of it. They had to get
No,
rid
Dad. This is. Look, you pull the thing. You stick your
Yeah,
$800 Switch in it,
I see it.
and then you can pretend you're playing a real Virtual Boy. Nobody wants to do that, Dad. Nobody
I
wants to do
understand.
that.
I'm just saying.
But they made a new factory made peripheral. This isn't like
They 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 had to offload a bunch of crap that they didn't want to store anymore.
Dad. I wish that was the case.
I think that is.
It's
'Cause
not the original Virtual Boy.
I'm trying to get
Couldn't do
them.
that.
I know that. I'm just saying they. Well, yeah.
I mean, are you saying they took
I'm trying
they
to.
gutted out a bunch of Virtual Boys
Yeah,
so they could make room with a
that's my
Switch?
point. Yeah. Do you understand?
That doesn't make any sense.
It does
It's a
if you're
waste of
trying to
time.
get rid of inventory.
Why are they doing it 20 years
Because they're
later,
saying
25 years
we got
later?
50,000 of these things sitting in here, and you can't do it. You can't recycle them. Nobody wants them. What's another purpose for them? Oh, let's modify them. That's all.
Yeah, but this is like 25 years later, Dad. It doesn't make any sense. It's dumb.
It is
That
dumb.
makes it worse. You realize that makes it worse.
Yeah, I agree.
That
But
makes it even
I think
stupider.
that's what it was. They just had it. I'm like, what are we gonna do with this? Oh, let's
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
modify it. And, that's all.
But yeah, it's just it's like they're giving things that people they're giving us stuff that we don't care about, and the stuff that we would love to care about, they're not giving it to us. But yeah, I just wanted to promote this project, Super Mario Brothers Remastered. There's also another guy making another 40th anniversary project. And this one's a pretty interesting twist because this is essentially what if Super Mario Brothers was made by Konami. So as you can see, it looks pretty familiar,
Yeah,
but it also looks very different because
definitely modified.
Castlevania. You said what?
Definitely modified.
Well, yeah. So this was actually made from the ground up. Um, but it's a completely original game, but obviously made like the 8-bit style. But like, you remember Contra and Castlevania and stuff like
Oh
that?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that was all Konami. So basically, uh, it was like basically this concept like, what if Super Mario Brothers was made by Konami instead of Nintendo, and it incorporates sort of their style of game design and whatnot. I think this level is probably the best example of that. Honestly, yeah, this one right here.
I like the music.
Yeah, the music
That's very,
reminds.
that's very Konami.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You've got the dollar signs instead of coins.
It's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, and it was cool, and I like that level because the music reminds me of Adventure Island, which is another Hudson property that was bought by Konami. And like you said, the Starman theme actually reminds me of music from Gradius. If anybody knows about Gradius, it's a space shooter. But yeah, so this is another cool 40th anniversary project. What did Nintendo give us? They gave us the virtual black. You want to play black and red games? You want to play? You want to play? You want to hurt your eyeballs for a second time? You want to burn your retinas for $80?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the worst part. Here's the most insulting part. Honestly, where's? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Honestly, you gotta hear this. Listen to how enthusiastic about this they are. About this.
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything? Okay, hold on a second.
I can't. I don't know if everybody else can, but
Can you hear it now?
no.
No. Oh, hold on a second. Well, basically, the joke is there's a cardboard cutout version of the plastic thing, so you can spend $80 on the plastic thing, or you could spend $50 on the cardboard cutout.
Something you can literally make with
Yeah,
a cardboard box from the grocery.
yeah. So have fun with that, then. Have fun with that.
I mean, it's just just more proof that they're pretty tone deaf, not just in their product offerings, but just in general with the pricing and everything for games. Like Afrocentric makes a good point. Saying $70 for 10-year-old games. It's like they're still charging these high prices for older games.
I mean, they've been doing that for
And they're
years.
not even, like you point out, they're not even remastered.
Yeah,
Right? They're not
Where's
even.
they've been doing that for years though. Back when GameStop was still really popular. You'd be hard pressed to find any first party Nintendo games in the bargain bin. Like in I want to say 2015 or 16. Uh, you know, Mario Galaxy was still worth $50, even though it was already a few years old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like that's
Because they don't market down their prices.
right.
And
But they
Gears of
should.
War, I bought Gears of War for $2 for Xbox 360.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the older the game gets, unless it's a true blue collectible, like a rarity, the price should be going down every year. It's like car. That's why for me personally, I still don't understand the craze over consoles. Consoles are to me are leashes, and they're there to keep you under control and make you stick with their games. Versus you do PC gaming, you can play whatever you want. You
I mean,
know,
that's true, but not
and
everybody has room for a PC, and not
everybody does.
everybody
The problem isn't the pricing. The problem is ignorance. A lot of people don't know or understand how to go about getting a PC that can handle gaming, and or how to build one on their own. You
Well,
know,
it's not. Well, that's the thing. It's not even just that. Like, you're not most. I mean, if you have kids, they're probably gonna ask for a Switch.
I know that that's because of marketing. But if you set your kid up with a gaming station that you put together, a tower that's costs less than maybe a few $100, even if it costs you, let's say, $1,000, 1,200, but it's going to last you 10 years,
I mean,
right?
that's true. I
Longer.
mean, you could also get your kid a Steam Deck.
And you
That
can
would
always
probably last.
right, and you can always upgrade it very easily and cheaply. You understand? Like it's that's all I'm saying. I think it's more the ignorance of it than like, oh, it's just too. It's like, well, no, you
Well, I
just
don't know how many people were. I mean, I feel like a lot of people would be too lazy to do one.
that's what I mean. It's ignorance. It's you don't see the cost benefit, and the marketing for consoles. It's like, hey, it's a console. It's fancy. It's new design and all this kind of stuff. It's going to handle your graphics better. And it's like, okay, but and that's why I think some people are kind of getting wise to that, and I think that's why they're trying to expand the console into other things. In addition to, it saves them money, like doing DLC, more DLC stuff, having a cloud based gaming. You know, it's like eventually your console is going to be your entertainment center, right? So because now you can rent movies or stream movies or TV shows through your console, right? And to me,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, duh. That's they should have been doing that years ago. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like it doesn't make sense to pay that much. Five upwards of $500 for something that you're going to trade up in 2 or 3 years, right? That's kind of ridiculous, right? Versus something that can last you a decade and still play the latest stuff.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like, that's a PC, and all you have to do is maybe you have to upgrade the graphics card, maybe, right? Depending on what you want to play, you know. But I don't know. That's just me. I just feel like now that consoles have expanded, it kind of makes more sense to get one because it has more capabilities, right?
Yeah, but it's still not on par with the capabilities of a PC, though.
It can be, that's up to the companies to make it that way. That's kind of what I'm saying, to make it expandable and extensible, right? Where you can buy your PS whatever 3 4 5, right? But then in 5 years all you need to do is get this one piece of maybe this graphics card or get some more memory, and you're good to go.
I mean,
So
that would be smart,
instead of
but I
paying
mean,
five, $600, $700, you're paying a couple hundred at best. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, because at some point, especially when you're talking about games costing 60, $70, even older games, it just starts to get ridiculous. It's like,
GTA 6 is supposed to be costing $100 upon launch.
yeah, that's wild, man. But and you want me to buy a brand new console so I can play it, right? Like, spend upwards of $500 $600. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy, man. I'm sorry, but that's pretty
Yeah.
wild.
Where's the thing? It's funny because I don't know how familiar you are with Neo Geo.
Not that much.
You remember Metal Slug, Dan?
Yeah.
So Metal Slug was made by SNK, and SNK had a console back in the '90s called Neo Geo. Neo Geo um, cost around, I think, I want to say like $500 when it first came out. No, almost $650 when it came out.
That's
Which
crazy.
was, but here's the thing though, the Neo Geo, what made the Neo Geo stand out was that it offered arcade quality games at home, right? It wasn't because with most consoles back then, you had an arcade version, and then you had to have a separate company create a port of the arcade game, which may or may not be on the same quality as the original arcade version. Right? That's why Street Fighter Two was such an anomaly, because we were lucky that we got such a faithful port of Street Fighter Two. but not everybody got the Street Fighter 2 treatment. Like some Super Nintendo ports and Sega ports of arcade games were just worse, like objectively worse, right? But with the Neo Geo, it was literally the same uh, tech inside of the arcade machine, in the arcade cabinet, in a home console. So all you really had to do was, buy the cartridge, right? And you never have to go to the arcade, right? But the difference between the Neo Geo and like most consoles now that are the same price is that the Neo Geo offered an experience that you couldn't get at home, right? Which is arcade quality games, right? And these are all critically acclaimed, and gamer acclaimed games: Fatal Fury, King of Fighters, Metal Slug. Like, imagine being able to just back in the '90s being able to bring Metal Slug at home. That was the idea. And with consoles today, they're not really offering an experience that you couldn't get that's unique from. I mean, you said already they're not offering a unique experience that you couldn't get from just buying a PC.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know. It's we'll see.
But it just
Going
reminded me of
forward,
that.
like, how do they deal with the rising costs? Because if you're going digital, right, then how do you justifying the increasing prices, right? It's at some point it just starts to get silly, But we'll see going forward. I mean, yeah, you know, it'll be interesting to see how the gaming industry fares. Um, there's got to at some point there's got to be like a logic to buying a console and holding on to it for a number of years and still being able to play new games, right? Newer games and not have it break your wallet, you know. So, but yeah,
So I know people who still have their PS2.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying because it makes sense because it's like you can't just jump on every new thing and spend just ridiculous amount of money.
well, also remember a lot of people have old movies, and a lot of those old movies are on Blu-ray and DVD, and PlayStation can play Blu-ray and
Yeah,
DVD.
yeah, that's right. And I think that's what it's going to be with gaming is like your brother. He's got a
Yeah, he bought a 3DS.
yeah, and he's getting old games, and I think that's going to be kind of part of it is going back, right? And then I
A
think
lot of
you're
people
going
are
to
going
have
back.
people modifying the 3DS, kind of jailbreaking it, and so that you can do other things, So that'll be interesting to see how that fares, So that's why I think the future of gaming is your cell phone. It's the cloud, it's your cell phone, as controller, as screen, as it attaches to your TV or to your computer. Like it's going to be some. I think it's going to be something like that, or some type of multi-purpose device, like a beyond the cell phone, like a gaming laptop that's also a laptop that's also your console at home or your, I don't know. It's got to be. This has got to be some type of cost benefit.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I'm saying that. It's like there's got to be beyond just ooh, I got the latest thing and it looks cool, but it still has all these bugs and I still can't play these games. I can only play these games because it's exclusive to this console, right?
Yeah.
That's,
Nobody really likes exclusivity.
I agree. That's my point. It's like I said, it's a leash. So you got to get a PlayStation and an Xbox and whatever. It's like, come on, man. This it starts to get ridiculous after a while. Like it doesn't make any sense. So especially as the prices keep going up, but the quality remains the same, right?
Yeah.
So it just doesn't seem logical. But speaking of not logical, um, the MCU, right? Why did I do that? That's the MCU, the DCAU, yeah, the MCU, uh, in our title should end. And what sparked it was I saw a video um, to give credit where credit's due. Um, I saw a video, YouTube
Oh,
video,
by Jester Bell.
Sister Bell, yeah, and
Yeah,
she's
she makes
talking
good
about that.
videos.
Yeah, and she makes some good points. She does sort of like top 10 reasons why. But I thought, yeah, that's a good point. Uh, Instead of this soft reboot that they're trying to do, and they're trying to, oh, now Tony Stark is Doctor Doom nonsense. It's like just end it. You know, it's like just end it. Like Seinfeld, right? When he takes the dip, it's like dip it and just end it. All right, don't double dip. It's like MCU, stop double dipping, right? Like just end it. It should have ended at Endgame, and I think more and more people are starting to realize that, right? That it should have ended at Endgame. Endgame
Yeah.
should have been the end game, and they stop. And then for a good, see, Endgame was what, 2018, 2019, right?
I
Uh,
believe so. Yeah.
so for the past 5 6 years, right? There should have been nothing, nothing. No MCU, nothing. Just some comics, right? Things like that. Rumors, a little bit of marketing, rehashing some of the old movies. Let the internet do its thing with hashtags and memes and right. That would have been fine, right? And then 2026, 27 comes, boom, you drop, hey, we're doing another thing with MCU. Now we're doing Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four, right? That would have been epic, right? People would have loved that. I think the recent Fantastic Four movie would have been better received had they done it that way, right? Especially given how it was such a departure stylistically from the typical, far more modern looking MCU, right? We got this very classic retro feel, and what's disappointing to me is that I wish I loved it. I love that retro look, and I wish they could do an entire series of movies, right? The Fantastic Four, maybe redo, actually give us a proper Hulk movie or something, or more, maybe more Spider Man, but with that retro, right? And maybe even bring in other Marvel characters that fit well into that retro vibe, right? Um, that would have been pretty epic, and it's a fresh universe. It's brand new, restarting, no connection to the previous, right? Just going forward, and then you close it out however many years later, right, in the same manner as previous, right, with the big tent pole, right. That would have been great, but it's like they're trying to salvage what's been done for some reason. Like we gotta make it all come together and connect, and it's like no, you don't. You're not a.
I
It's
mean, they
almost
already
like
did that.
it's almost like they're thinking like comic book creators, right? Like the old school comic book guys, where they get out of hand, right? That's how we ended up with Crisis on Infinite Earths and Crisis, Infinite Crisis. Like, that's how we ended up with all that, right? Because they had to rehash and reboot and reset the universes to make it all make sense, right? Because they
Yeah.
have all these different continuities and different versions of the same character, and that's kind of how it feels with the MCU now. They're like trying to like do some kind of you know Infinite Crisis style reboot, and it's like, why are you doing that? It's movies, right? You don't have to do that. It's not even necessary. No one watches movies like that. Even with the MCU, the first phase 1 through 3 or whatever, like no one was really watching movies like that, right? It was fun, right, to anticipate. Oh, we saw the first Iron Man, and now or the second one, and it referenced something from the first one, and then Thor referenced something from the previous Iron Man. That was fun, but nobody's really watching movies like there's this order,
Yeah.
outside of like 1, 2, and 3, right? Like, it's like just make movies, make good movies, and tell good stories, and you can have a continuity, but why are you trying to shoehorn these, basically mistakes that were made with other movies to try and make it all somehow connect or make sense. It doesn't make it just seems so illogical. Like you're I don't know. I think part of it is trying to validate what's been done that obviously didn't work, right? And then doing something that could work, but because you're shoehorning in the bad stuff, right? It diminishes it, right? It's like it's losing its luster because you keep trying to connect it to crappy movies or TV shows, you know, and it's like, and the fans, I think are picking up on it, and you know, you get videos like from Jester Bell where they're like, "Look, just end it," it's like just
Listen, I'll be honest. I mean, I say this a lot, but I never cared about the Marvel cinematic universe, and that's not to say that I don't like any of the movies. Like I have my favorite movies, but it's like you said, I'm not trying to treat going to the movies like homework. So I'm not gonna
yeah,
watch.
yeah,
If I
that's
don't care about a movie, I'm not gonna watch it.
right.
And if I jump into a movie like the Avengers and I just don't get something because it was referenced in a previous movie, and it's like, okay, I guess whatever. Oh well, doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, but you had to watch, you know,
That's what I mean. Like, and that's
Smeckledorf 3
yeah,
from 2005 or
yeah.
something.
It's like, yeah, no, very few people care, and part of it's the other way around, right? Like, no one wants to have to, but it's fun to do it. Does that make sense? Meaning, what made the Marvel universe fun and entertaining was, yeah, there was this sort of a sense of like, oh, if I'm going to watch the Iron Man movie, and then you watch Thor, and you're like, oh, that was in the Iron Man movie, right? Just like, I think, was it Iron Man 2?
Yeah,
Where no, it was the first one where he made reference of going to the New Mexico desert, right?
that
Why? Well,
was the
we find
first one.
out in Thor. Oh, it's because Thor's hammer landed there, and they're like, "What the hell is this thing?" Right?
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
he
yeah,
went
yeah.
to, and that's what I mean. Little things like that is fun. That's fun. That's like, oh yeah, that connects the movies, right? So that means while Thor was happening, Iron Man was happening, right? The first Iron Man. That's kind of awesome. That's fun. Like that's what fans want. That's what audiences want. It's just fun, right? But then when you're starting to, okay, there's this series, and then we're gonna spin off a movie from that series, and you have to watch that series to understand what's happening in the movie. It's like, okay, now you're putting the cart before the horse. You see what I mean? Because you're
Yeah,
you're just
well,
assuming we're
it
all gonna
reminds me of
watch this series as homework. You know?
yeah. So it reminds me of a manga called Violence Jack. Violence Jack was made by Go Nagai. Go Nagai, very influential mangaka. He created Cutie Honey, Mazinger Z,
Yeah.
Devilman, stuff like that. And when I was reading it, one of the cool things that he did was at some point during the story, figure out that Violence Jack is actually a reincarnated version of Devilman. And the way you find it out is pretty cool because you find out because it takes place during the apocalypse. This is like the first post-apocalyptic manga, and it's really cool because there's Easter and because he put in Easter eggs from Devilman, the Devilman series, into Violence Jack. Like this is the result of the final battle of uh, of final battle of Devilman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool, but it's not something that you have to know. Like you don't have to read Devilman to know that violence to read Violence Jack. But it's just a cool thing that's part of the world building. That's sort of a reward for fans
Yeah.
of of his stuff, right? But it's not integral to the plot, right? You don't like I said, you don't have to you don't have to go back and read Devilman to understand violence, Jane.
Right,
And I
right.
think when, like I said, when you treat Easter eggs like homework, then it becomes,
Well,
that's when it
it's not.
becomes tedious
Yeah, it's not fun
because
anymore.
it's no longer an Easter egg. It's
Yeah,
just
and it's not entertainment anymore.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm saying. They it's like they're so enamored on just pushing their message. That's number one, over the story, and two, it's like they're trying to maintain this continuity that really isn't there. They've already contradicted their own continuity so many times. Like I've lost count, to be honest. It's like, what? So why? What are you holding on to, right? And I think part of it is the personalities that are sort of at the helm, right? Is their egos can't stand to say, okay, guys, let's end it here and let's kind of regroup in 3 years or 5 years, right? Like they just don't want to do that. Just their pride, their ego. You understand what I'm saying? Like
their
something is,
wallets.
yeah, yeah, maybe so. I mean, I don't see how they're still making money, but
Yeah, man.
yeah, it's I don't know. It just seems so ridiculous at this point. It's like just end it, and even the DC, you know, uh, got a clue and said, you know what, guys, we're just gonna make movies. We're not gonna try and do. And then after that, they're like, okay, we're gonna reboot and we're gonna put James Gunn at the helm. See what he does. Right? It's like, okay, that's I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that, right? Because at least they're kind of acknowledging, yeah, we're just gonna, you know, even though they're still trying to do something similar because they're holding on to like Peacemaker and all that stuff and trying to tie it all into Superman, and and that's because that's James Gunn's baby, right? So I think that's a mistake. So we'll see. I think they're going to end up.
It's funny because it's not like it's his character. It's kind of
No,
like how
it's his. It's
everybody associates Deadpool with
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds
Yeah,
or Hugh Jackman
right.
Wolverine,
But to
and they're
be fair,
good.
that's earned, right? Because he nailed the character.
Yeah,
So did Hugh Jackman. So I don't have a problem with him saying I want to kind of own this character and control it and like do more projects with it. More power to him, right? Because so far he's done excellent job. Ryan Reynolds specifically, right?
yeah,
James Gunn, if James Gunn said I want to take Guardians of the Galaxy and do a whole series or something, I'd be like, I'm all for it because you did a great job with those three movies. I'd love to see where you take it and how far you can go, and hopefully it'll be just as good, if not better, right? Now, Peacemaker, some people loved it. Some people, I'm one of those people that didn't really care for it. I don't think it's very good. I think it's very cynical and nihilistic, which I guess it's supposed to be, but I don't like that. So, so I don't like the character. I don't like John Cena. Um, I've never really liked John Cena, so he's
so
o- he's o- he's okay. And I mean, as an actor, like I don't know him as a person. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
just mean I don't care for his acting or it's like he's okay. I don't know. I don't.
I think he's a better actor than The Rock, although that's not
Well,
a big
that's not
bar.
saying much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, seriously,
it's not a large hurdle.
I think The Rock has a better screen presence than he does. I think that's because The Rock. The difference is The Rock is always The Rock.
Well,
He's
yeah,
never
that's what I
he's
mean.
always Dwayne Johnson. He's really never anybody else. With John Cena, he tries to be someone else, but he fails. In my opinion,
Oh, I guess.
he tries to act like a different character, but he's still John Cena, and so he's John Cena trying to act like someone else, and it's like, well, you're not that person, and you're not pulling it off. That's how I
Yeah,
see it.
yeah.
With The Rock, I feel like he's just being The Rock.
Well, yeah.
He's not trying to be someone else. He is just
Although that's a lot of actors nowadays. So
well, sure. Well, and for some it works, and for others it doesn't, right? So, but that's the difference between like great acting and being an actor, right? And The Rock and John Cena are actors, right? But they're not great actors, which is fine. They're making money, they're making a living, so more power to them. But yeah, so yeah, I'm not a fan of Peacemaker at all in any way, shape, or form.
I never watched it.
Now I like James Gunn. But I like James Gunn because of what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and really for no other reason. Like to me, they're great movies. So, but and look, Superman's a decent movie. Definitely has promise, right? But that's what kind of makes me nervous. Is I think they're going to go down the same road as the MCU. They're going to keep trying to shoehorn in previous stuff, and it's not going to work. It's they're just going to tear down their own house, you know, versus
Maybe.
starting fresh and just leaving it all in the dust. And everything pivots from Superman, which would make perfect sense. But for some reason, they're still trying to keep Peacemaker as part of this universe. And so
I
I
mean,
don't.
I don't really have. I don't know. I don't necessarily have a problem with Peacemaker being canon to the larger DC universe. I just think that
I do because I think it's inconsistent and tonally it's contradictory. So that's why I just it's not to me it's not a good idea. And I think, and this is from an article from like 2023. So, but I've been saying it. A lot of people have been saying it for years. Just do the DCAU, right? Call up Bruce Tim and say, "Hey, bro, come and consult with us. We're just gonna redo what you did successfully for what, like 2 decades, right?"
well, not even just Bruce Tim. What's it called? Because to be fair, Bruce Tim also gave us that other Batman reboot that was pretty recent. But yeah, I mean,
Are you talking about Gods and Monsters?
no. I mean, was that what that's called? No, not Gods and Monsters.
What are you talking
The one that looked like the 1950s
1950?
with the female
Oh,
Kingdom.
the more recent one, the Batman,
Yeah,
Cape Crusader.
yeah.
Yeah, I know that was kind of garbage.
I mean, what Paul Dini,
Paul Dini,
get what's the one guy's
Jeff
name?
Johns.
No, I'm talking about the writers
Yeah,
who helped with the show. Yeah, Jeff Johns. Who was the black guy's name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Really, you know what I'm talking about?
no, what are you talking about?
The writers for the Justice League.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, Paul Dini, Jeff Johns, Bruce Tim.
I was literally just.
Oh, I know you talking about. I think he passed away.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. But what was his? Chad, you know his name. Yeah,
I know who
it
you're
was
talking about, but for some reason his name escapes me. I don't know.
Dwayne McDuffie. There we
Yeah,
go.
McDuffie. Yeah, he passed
Yeah,
away.
you're right. He did pass away.
I know, sadly. Yeah,
Yeah, he was really good.
he was. Like they were all great. They were obviously had a
Yeah,
synergy.
I'm just saying.
And I
Bruce
think
Tim by himself.
yeah, that's what I
Maybe
was
not,
gonna say.
but
As a team, they tend to, if you watch some of their behind the scenes interviews and things after the shows, they hint that like yeah they had their disagreements about how to approach things but I think that's kind of what made it great was the fact that they played off each other and so it kind of kept certain things in check. Versus like with Bruce Tim, he shows that solo he's gonna kowtow uh, to the wokeness basically, right? And but with a team, he that gets cold back more, right? So that's what's unfortunate. It's like you just can't really trust hardly any of these guys, right? I mean even Kathleen Kennedy, she worked with George Spielberg and George Lucas for decades, right? She worked under them while they were producing these great movies, classic IP. You know what I mean? Like she was in those circles, and yet here she is. The force is female and all this foolishness. You understand? So she was
Well,
always there,
I mean, the
waiting
difference is
for her
that
opportunity to pounce, right? And now she can push her own agenda and her ideology forward. And that's kind of what happens. I think it's similar with Bruce Timm and others. It's like when they were on this team, they couldn't just blatantly push an ideology, right? But once they're solo and they got the backing and the money, oh, now I can go ahead and flush this down the toilet and you know completely destroy this IP. I mean, that's not what they're
Yeah,
thinking, but that's what they think they're doing the IP a favor, right? By injecting their ideology, so making it more,
yeah,
quote unquote progressive or whatever. And it's like, no, you're not. Like you're actually destroying it, But so I'm just like, look, the template's already there. Just follow the template. You don't have to follow it beat for beat, but I think it's definitely a very solid guide for how to approach the live action movies, right?
yeah,
Story wise, tonally, character wise. Like, just go sit down, block out a week, and just watch the DCAU. Just watch
yeah,
Batman animated series, watch Superman animated series, watch Justice League, watch the Justice League Unlimited, watch Teen Titans,
yeah.
watch the Zeta Project, watch Batman Beyond. Like, watch all of them, right? Um, to give you a sense of kind of like how they pulled and culled from the comics, right, and reimagined for television, right?
Well, that's the thing, though. You're talking about people that don't really. I don't know. You get a sense that they don't really. I'm not talking about James Gunn specifically. I'm not going to assume anything about James Gunn, but just in general, a lot of these people don't care about the comic books to begin with. A lot of these people don't like superheroes to begin with. You know,
This is true. Yeah.
and so it doesn't really matter. Like it doesn't really matter where they pull from. The problem is that do they respect the brand, and do they
Yeah.
respect what more importantly, do they understand the essence of what each series is about, right? I think about, this is going to be a weird example, but like Stanley Kubrick and uh, The Shining, right? Stanley Kubrick, from my understanding, changed a bit from Stephen King's original book. And even though, I mean, it worked out in his favor because his version of the story is the most iconic version. But, you know, you get a sense that he understood the essence of what the story was about and
Yeah.
how to tap into the horror, right? A more recent example in pop culture, I guess one that I grew up with, is Kid Icarus. If Kid Icarus was a video game made by the guy who made Metroid,
Hmm.
Gunpei Yokoi, and it was essentially Metroid, but worse gameplay wise. It was a great game, but Sakurai took the franchise. He's the guy who made Kirby and Smash Brothers, and took it to a whole new level. And even though obviously, it's a very different game from the original game, it still respects a lot of the elements from the original game, right? Like a lot of the same enemies are, yeah, most of the same enemies return, um, and and a lot of the same characters are back, just with more personality. Pitt himself has
Right.
an actual character, but it's not like it's not treated like it's bashing the original game. It feels like it's a proper celebration of what the original game tried to do. It just added more to it, and that's not even that's not Sakurai's. That's not Sakurai's game, but you know he still went out of his way to make it something that everybody could enjoy. So it's like it's one thing to it's not uncommon for people to take somebody else's story and sort of put their own spin on it, but there has to be some sort of reverence, you know.
Yeah.
It can't just be you
Well, I'll
can't
put it
come in with the
this way.
attitude of I could do it better
Well, it's
or
not even.
this
I'll
sucks.
go even further and say it's not even that. Although that's a big part of it for sure. I would venture to say tell a good story. That's it. Like even if you're saying I'm gonna reinterpret this somehow, I'm gonna reimagine this and maybe update it because instead of it being in the 1920s or 40s or 30s, I'm gonna make it in the 1980s or the 2000s, right? That's fine, right? Um, but it's like it's about the sort of the worldview behind it, right? It's like, are you approaching this from a cynical perspective? Or are you approaching this from like, I am a fan of this IP. I respect it. I love it. I understand the storytelling behind it. So I want to tell my version of this in the sense of, like this is how I would do it. And that used to mean I'm giving you a great story and it's going to have all the different tropes, whether visual or otherwise, right? But it's going to be sort of this different spin or twist, right? And now it went from that to gender swap, race swap, inject ideology, right? And it has to be an ideology that's aligns with what's considered counter to conservatism, right? And it's just very odd, you know. Um, and it's like, yeah, just give us a good story, and I think most people would just enjoy the story, right? It's not even about like just reverencing the original. It's like just to me, for me, this is my opinion. Others might disagree, but I think it's just common sense. And what has happened is we've gotten to a place where people gaslight us into thinking that what what's been put out there is common sense also, and it's not. You understand? Like writing a good story is common sense, right? Now, sometimes we miss the mark for whatever reason, right? And we may tell a subpar story, but that story may be subpar not because you're injecting political or social issues into it. It's just a matter of delivery and execution, right? Writing proper prose and using proper context and terminology, et cetera, right? Like just writing principles, right? You haven't grasped all the principles, right? And you forgot this principle. Now you have to add it so you can make a better story. That's what it used to be, right? But it's like that's not what's happening. It's people who are purposely writing stories that inject their worldview, right, or insert their own selves into these characters in a very blatant way, in an unimaginative way, right? And it's not logical or rational. But then when you speak against it and you say this is awful, right? They say, "Oh, you're a racist, or you're a homophobe, or you're, whatever." And it's like, no, like this is literally a bad story. Like, and it's bad, yes, because one of the reasons beyond the bad writing is because you gender swapped this character or race swapped this character, right? Or you injected this feminist dynamic that wasn't there before, right? Right. Those are objectively true, but it doesn't matter, right? And a lot of people, especially those who are talking heads and those who are trying to get clicks and views and and especially the writers and the directors who are actually producing this stuff, they'll come out and pretend that what they're doing is common sense, right? Like, oh, it's just a story about empowering this group or something. They'll have their language, and it's like, no, you're butchering the story. You're butchering this character. All right, stop doing that. right? You do know better, but you choose not to do it. And at this point, I'm thoroughly convinced that's the case with most of the stuff that we've seen from Marvel and Star Wars, and it's like they know it isn't good, but they don't care, right? Because they want to put whatever their spin is onto it, right? And they believe what they're doing and their vision is superior to what audiences actually like, right? And I think and then there's others who they just aren't as critical, so they're watching and going, whatever, it's entertainment. Like I don't care. I'm not looking that deep into it, right? It's a mile wide and an inch deep. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not people's job to care, but if
no, I agree. That's my
it,
point. I'm saying then there's those who, they're not even looking for it. Like, and if you're not looking for it, you're not gonna find it. You're not gonna see it right away until someone points it out. Like, hey, that's that. And you might go, oh yeah, I never noticed that, right? Because you're
yeah,
just kind of just passively watching it, and that's fine. I'm not knocking anybody for liking what they like. It's just, but just understand that even some of the stuff you like has those virtue signals in it. It has those that, quote unquote, the message in it, and at some point, you probably should acknowledge that, like, especially if you've made aware of it. Now, whether you like it or not, after that point, that's your prerogative. If you watch The Acolyte, right? And you're aware of who's was show running it, who wrote it, that she's a about feminists, and that the story does have feminist even borderline Wicca witchcraft in it, right? um, and you're still like, oh, it's fine, right? I still like it. That's your prerogative, right? Um, you're aware now, and if you see it, you know and you're like, I don't care, hey, more power to you. But that doesn't change the fact of what it is, right? And that's all I'm saying. It's like, and a lot of people, and I would argue most people, majority of people, are seeing that and going, I don't like that, right? Even though it may not even be for the same reasons, right? Like I said, just on a very fundamental reason, it's just bad writing. You understand?
well,
Like,
that's because here's
forget
the thing.
forget the
Regardless,
messaging and the virtue signaling and all that stuff. On the very surface level, it's just poor production, bad writing.
well, that's the thing though. Is like regardless of because every writer has their own point of view on life, and that's
Right.
gonna bleed into the story regardless. But the
Sure.
problem is that usually what happens is that a, a lot of current writers will throw out nuance in favor of you know getting the message across because they don't trust the audience to think. They're trying to think for the audience instead of letting the audience kind of
Yeah,
run a
I would
conclusion.
agree with
That's
that.
why. That's
Yeah.
why. That's why. Last time I showed off that clip from Legend of the Galactic Heroes
Yeah.
because it was a very nuanced conversation about war, right? And it didn't tell the audience what the right answer was. It presented a conversation, and it's up for you to come to your own conclusion. Um, and because it's like, yeah, life is more complicated than just this is, you know, like if you wanna have a story that's supposed to be deep and impactful, then you have to trust the audience to be able to. You got to let the audience into the conversation, right? Otherwise, you're just lecturing them. It's not a conversation anymore.
Yeah,
A
that's a
lot
fair
of
point.
writers aren't interested in having a conversation with the audience,
Yeah.
right? That's why stories like The Watchmen, as much as I'm not a big fan of The Watchmen, but it's a very nuanced story because the characters are presented in a way that where uh, everybody is morally gray to a certain extent, but you could easily understand what's his name, Osmandius's point of view as much as what's his name, the the Rorschach. There we go,
Oh,
Rorschach.
Rorschach. Okay.
I keep blanking up. But yeah, Rorschach. That's why people. That's why people like Warshak. You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's nuance to his character.
right. Yeah, exactly. And that's that tends to be what we respond to as readers and as viewers, right? Is that nuance.
Yeah,
You know,
like
and
I'm right now. I'm
the
playing.
universal truths.
Right now, I'm playing a game called Fire Emblem. I don't know if you know about Fire Emblem. It's okay if you don't. It was
No,
he
I
was okay. Yeah, it's in Smash Brothers, but it's called Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's a cool game. It's an RPG, and there's no like canon ending, at least from my perspective, because every like the least morally great character is still kind of a jerk,
yeah,
but you know, uh, but at some point, with each path that you take in the story, you're gonna end up doing a lot of morally great things. But what happens is that before the story gets really dark, you get to know, the character's background and stuff like that, and you get a sense of their motivation, right? And because there's essentially three protagonists. If you choose one character to play as, the other three will automatically become the antagonists of their story, right? So there's a bit of nuance there.
okay, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is nuance and subtlety and subtext, right? Those used to be instruments of writing, and in modern a lot of the modern Hollywood takes that doesn't seem to be. At least it's shifted into something entirely different, right? Um, and that's I think that's what makes a lot of it problematic. And you're getting the response you're getting, and they're not getting the views that they want to get. They're losing money, and the movies aren't making money, and and that's all a consequence of just bad writing. They went from bad writing to uh, you know SJW, you know sort of ideological writing, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like you go back to what 2012 or 2013, 14, and there were bad movies in, right? I remember they did a reboot of another reboot of Charlie's Angels, right? And
Oh yeah.
and it was just objectively just a bad movie, right? And now I think they were going for this feminist take, right? And that was kind of the beginnings of a lot of that, like Ghostbusters 2016, right? Same thing. Like it's like it wasn't about it being all girls. It was just like, hey guys, it's like, what are you doing? Why are you like trying to ignore the original movies, right? Like it didn't make any sense. It's and it was all in the name of this, so-called girl power nonsense, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, and people pick up on that, and they're just like, no thanks, right? And it's just been snowballing ever since. And frankly, it's like it's just gotten exhausting at this point. So we'll see what happens with with James Gunn and the DCU. I mean, I hope he pulls it off. I mean, Superman wasn't terrible. It was kind of mid. I did enjoy it though, so hopefully it'll just get better from here. Hopefully, right? But we'll see. But the MCU, I think they should just cut their losses and give us a few years, and then come back strong with something good. You know, that's my 2 cents about that. But thanks for joining us today for another Super Galactic Saturday. We appreciate your time and attention. Thanks for your comments and everything, and let us know what you guys think. Even after we're gone, comment it on YouTube or even on X. Let us know, and maybe we can talk about it some more next Saturday. So, but you guys have a great day and make it a Super Galactic Saturday.
We'll see you around.